Everyone knows Tanjiro Kamado, the main protagonist of Demon Slayer and one of the kindest and purest heroes in anime. But the vast majority of people don't realize the full extent of Tanjiro's power. They don't know that he's able to use elements of 4 different breathing styles, and that he and his sister Nezuko possess a secret weapon that can destroy even Muzan himself. By the end of this video, you will know the full extent of all of Tanjiro's powers and abilities, including his incredible secret weapon, and the hidden connection between Tanjiro and Demon Daddy Muzan. If you want to learn all the secret info so that you can brag to your friends about being a bigger Demon Slayer fan than them, be sure to watch this video until the very end. You will not be disappointed. You guys know how this works. You leave a quick like and comment right now, and the YouTube algorithm doesn't destroy me. And of course, if you are one of the over 50% of people who watch our videos regularly but haven't taken the time to subscribe yet, do me a big favor and make this the video that you subscribe and hit that notification bell to turn on all notifications. Subscribing on YouTube is completely free and is the only way to make sure that you're going to be notified when we drop more Demon Slayer videos. And I'm telling you right now, we have a lot more content on Demon Slayer coming very soon. Finally, this video will contain Demon Slayer manga spoilers. I'm going to be looking at all of the relevant information regarding Tanjiro's powers and abilities, so please proceed with caution. You have been warned. Tanjiro had a very humble childhood, and he never intended to become an overpowered demon-slaying warrior. He was born on a mountain in a family of charcoal merchants, and the family lived a simple and rural life. Tanjiro learned coal burning techniques from his parents, and he helped to carry and sell charcoal in the town that was closest to their mountain home. This means that Tanjiro was exposed to daily physical labor and physical activity from an early age, which certainly made him fit and strong. But Tanjiro never trained to be a fighter or a swordsman of any kind, and the only formal training that he actually got was dance lessons. More specifically, Tanjiro's father Tanjiro taught him the dance of the fire god, also known as Hinokami Kagura, a ritual dance technique that has been passed on from father to son within Tanjiro's family for centuries. Unbeknownst to Tanjiro, this ritual dance actually contained the fundamentals of sun breathing, the original and most powerful breathing style. So even though he didn't know it, Tanjiro was in fact training to become a master swordsman from a very young age. But this dance training is not the only reason why Tanjiro eventually became so powerful. As we see in the very first episode of the anime and first chapter of the manga, Tanjiro was blessed with some incredible natural abilities and instincts. First, we have his sense of smell that is far superior to that of an average human, and Tanjiro is able to use this to his advantage many times throughout the story. But even more impressive than his finely honed senses are Tanjiro's excellent instincts in battle, and his phenomenal ability to think strategically and creatively even in the most dangerous situations. When he first meets the water Hashira Giyu, after the tragic death of his family and after Nezuko's transformation into a demon, Tanjiro manages to utterly impress Giyu with his combat instincts and his ability to think on his feet. While Tanjiro is trying to prevent Giyu from killing Nezuko, even though she's been turned into a demon, he figures out quickly that Giyu is much stronger than him and that he cannot win in a head-on battle. So Tanjiro tricks Giyu by throwing his hatchet into the air when Giyu isn't looking, and then he distracts Giyu with a head-on attack while pretending to still be holding the hatchet in his hand. Even though this attack could have led to Tanjiro's death, it had the desired effect, and Giyu didn't realize that Tanjiro had already thrown the hatchet until he was almost hit with it. So Giyu, a master swordsman and a Hashira, was just inches away from being killed by a 16-year-old charcoal merchant with zero combat experience. In the end, Giyu is so impressed by both Tanjiro and Nezuko that he spares their lives and recruits them into the Demon Slayer Corps. He is even willing to stake his own life on their success, because Giyu agrees to commit not alive if Nezuko ever eats a human. So right from the get-go, it is clear that Tanjiro has exceptional combat instincts, and that is only emphasized further as the story continues. For example, when Tanjiro is fighting Sekido during the Swordsmith Village arc, Sekido acknowledges that Tanjiro has great intuition and that he thinks extremely quickly on his feet. Tanjiro is able to evaluate the situation on the battlefield in an instant, and he intuitively formulates an incredibly effective strategy. Like when he secretly cuts off Urogi's foot and then uses it to block Sekido's lightning attack. because he was able to figure out that the demon's own cells are not affected by the lightning. Since both Urogi and Sekido come from the same demon, they have the same cells, and so the leg of one demon can be used to pacify an attack by the other. Tanjiro's insanely good combat intuition and his ability to think and act strategically under pressure continue to be an important theme throughout the story. These combat instincts are not necessarily something that Tanjiro learned or trained to develop. He possesses them intuitively even before he undergoes any combat training, as we saw during his first meeting with Giyu. So we have to openly acknowledge that Tanjiro is extremely gifted and possesses a great deal of natural talent. I don't think he's the most naturally talented character in the story. I would say that both Yoriichi and Muichiro surpass him in that regard. But nonetheless, Tanjiro does have protagonist levels of natural talent. This talent, when combined with his immense determination to save his sister and with his truly impressive work ethic, helps to explain how Tanjiro is able to become such a successful demon slayer so quickly. The first breathing style that Tanjiro learns is water breathing, and he learns it after 6 months of training with Giyu's master and the former water Hashira, Sakonji Urokodaki. Tanjiro then successfully passes the final selection, and in doing so he demonstrates not only impressive swordsmanship skills, but also advanced acrobatic abilities. His strength and skill advances rapidly after he becomes a full-fledged demon slayer and begins facing off against stronger and stronger demons. Water breathing has 10 different forms, plus an 11th one that was created by Giyu, but Tanjiro doesn't use that one. The first 10 forms include first form Water Surface Slash, which is basically a single concentrated slash. The second form is Water Wheel, which, as the name suggests, involves the user jumping in the air and spinning in midair in a circular path in order to create an attack that resembles a water wheel. The third form is Flowing Dance, which involves the user swinging their sword while mimicking the movements of flowing water. The fourth form is Striking Tide, which involves using multiple consecutive slashes while twisting the user's body in a way that resembles a powerful water tide. The fifth form is Blessed Rain after the drought, which allows the user to kill the target in a merciful way so that the enemy will not suffer. This is used on enemies who are already defeated and helpless. The sixth form is Whirlpool, which involves the user sharply twisting their upper and lower body and creating a whirlpool that will cut through anything in its path. The seventh form is Drop Ripple Thrust, the fastest technique of the Breath of Water style. It amounts to a single but very quick and accurate stab. The eighth form is Waterfall Basin, a vertical cut. The ninth form is Splashing Water Flow Turbulent, which allows the user to adapt to shaky footing by minimizing his landing time and the size of the surface needed to land safely. The 10th form is Constant Flux, a continuous slashing attack that becomes more powerful with each new rotation. As he becomes stronger and more skilled with using water breathing, Tanjiro actually improves upon and combines some of these forms in battle. For example, he creates second form Improved Lateral Water Wheel, which is an alternate version of second form Water Wheel, and in which the user unleashes a horizontal spin instead of a vertical one. There is also Whirlpool Flow, which is a combination of third form Flowing Dance and sixth form Whirlpool. Tanjiro combines the footwork of Flowing Dance with the twisting movements of Whirlpool. Again, the fact that Tanjiro begins to combine and improve upon some of these forms so soon after learning to use them speaks to his natural skill and talent, as well as to his determination and commitment to his training. During his fight against Rui, Tanjiro finds himself in a desperate state and facing certain death. In that moment, Tanjiro realizes that the ritual dance he learned from his father, the dance of the fire god or the Hinokami Kagura, can actually be used as a distinct breathing style, and he proceeds to use it for the first time in battle. As we later learn, although still unperfected at this point in time, Tanjiro's Hinokami Kagura is actually the original and strongest breathing style, sun breathing. More than 400 years ago, the original user of this breathing style, Yoriichi Tsugikuni, demonstrated all of its forms to Tanjiro's ancestor, Sumiyoshi. Sumiyoshi then passed the forms on to his children in the form of a ritual dance, and that tradition continued from generation to generation until it reached Tanjiro himself. Initially, the Hinokami Kagura or sun breathing has 12 known forms. These include Dance, which is a single high-powered slash that comes down in an arc. Clear Blue Sky, a circular spinning slash that sees the user rotate their body to cut at a full 360 degrees angle. Raging Sun, an attack composed of a vertical slash followed by a horizontal slash. Burning Bones Summer Sun, a single spiraling slash that has both offensive and defensive properties. Setting Sun Transformation, in which the user performs a backflip and then unleashes a single horizontal slash with the intention of taking off the opponent's head. Solar Heat Haze, in which the user rushes forward while hidden in a haze. This haze hides the true size and position of the user's sword, allowing them to deliver a surprise attack. Then there's Beneficent Radiance, where the user spirals upward into the air and performs a swirling upwards slash. Sunflower Thrust, a single thrust that uses the tip of the sword to attack the target. Dragon Sun Halo Dance, which involves the user delivering a bunch of consecutive slashes in continuous motion, allowing him to strike and decapitate multiple targets at once. Fire Wheel involves the user spinning through the air in order to get behind the opponent and then delivering a vertical slash in a circular motion. Fake Rainbow is a defensive technique that allows the user to dodge quickly using rapid twists and rotations. This technique will leave after images and confuse opponents. The last of the 12 initial forms is called Flame Dance, which is a combination of two strikes that starts off with a vertical slash and then immediately leads into a second horizontal slash. Eventually, Tanjiro sees the memories of his ancestor Sumiyoshi directly when he is knocked out during his fight against Muzan, and he realizes that some of the intricacies of the 12 forms were lost to time. And as a result, the Hinokami Kagura that he learned from his father was not the perfected form of sun breathing. Tanjiro finally masters all 12 forms after seeing Sumiyoshi's memories of Yoriichi actually performing all the sun breathing forms himself. Tanjiro then perfects the forms by adjusting the position of his body, as well as his movements and breathing. This makes Tanjiro a lot stronger and more effective in battle, and it also allows him to discover the secret 13th form of sun breathing. The 13th form was devised by Yoriichi for the specific purpose of defeating Muzan. By rapidly and continuously performing all 12 forms of sun breathing, the user is able to destroy all 12 of Muzan's vital organs, his 7 hearts and 5 brains, which are dispersed throughout his demonic body. Tanjiro's ability to perfect sun breathing and unlock the secret 13th form is crucial for his victory against Muzan. But even this is not the full extent of Tanjiro's power when it comes to breathing styles. Yes, Tanjiro is able to master both water breathing and sun breathing, but wait, there's more. I already mentioned that Tanjiro has the incredible ability to modify and combine different breathing style forms in order to create new and more effective attacks. And believe it or not, this ability doesn't just stop with his water and sun breathing. During the Swordsmith Village arc, Tanjiro creates a modified version of sun breathing's first form, Dance, in order to overtake a fleeing Hantengu. This modified version is called Dancing Flash, and it actually incorporates elements of Zenitsu's thunder breathing with his own sun breathing. In particular, Tanjiro is able to fuse Zenitsu's thunderclap and flash technique with his own dance technique. He inhales a massive amount of oxygen and circulates it to every fiber of his muscles and every blood vessel. He then focuses all that blood pumping into his legs and releases everything all in one blast that cuts the air like a thunderclap. By doing this, Tanjiro combines the speed of thunder breathing with the phenomenal slashing power of sun breathing. And he demonstrates that he understands and is able to apply the technique and philosophy of thunder breathing on top of water and sun breathing. I have no doubt that given enough time, Tanjiro would be able to master and combine all 3 of these breathing styles, and that's not even the end of his breathing style related powers. But before we get into his final secret power and his true ultimate weapon, let's talk about the other important techniques and abilities he possesses. Techniques and abilities which complement and enhance his use of breathing styles. Tanjiro awakens the Demon Slayer mark, which is a mark that appears on the body of a Demon Slayer after certain specific conditions are met. A Demon Slayer who goes through an extremely tense and life-threatening situation that sees their heart rate increase to over 200 beats per minute and their body temperature go up to over 39 degrees Celsius and survives will be able to unlock the Demon Slayer mark. The mark almost always appears after the user has been in contact with other Demon Slayers who also awaken the mark. The only known example of someone being born with the Demon Slayer mark fully formed is Yoriichi Tsukikuni, although there is some question about the true nature of Tanjiro's mark as well. That's because Tanjiro's mark appears in the exact location where he already had what he believed to be a burn scar, and his mark actually replaces this burn scar. The burn scar itself also changes over time, as does Tanjiro's Demon Slayer mark. It grows and gets bigger every time he unlocks it. Since Tanjiro's dad had the exact same quote-unquote burn scar as Tanjiro in the exact same location, it is likely that this was not a regular burn scar in the first place. Tanjiro just thought it was because he happened to get burned in that same area when he was a kid. It is possible that, like Yoriichi, some members of the Kamado family were actually born with the Demon Slayer mark, but in their case the mark was underdeveloped or unawakened. It grows and develops over time as they themselves grow and develop and get stronger. This part is still somewhat of a mystery, and we don't know the true nature of the Kamado quote-unquote burn scars, but my personal opinion is that yes, they were actually born with a partial or unawakened version of the Demon Slayer mark, and that is why Tanjiro was able to awaken it and trigger that same awakening in the other Demon Slayers around him. Now, awakening the mark acts as a major power boost for every Demon Slayer, and that is certainly the case for Tanjiro as well. After he awakens his mark, he becomes exponentially faster and stronger. The mark is said to provide increased resistance against the effects of Muzan's demon blood, and the awakening of the mark also allows Demon Slayers to attain bright red Nichiren blades. Turning their blades a bright red color is essential for Demon Slayers, because these blades can stop demonic flesh from regenerating. Thus, these blades are necessary for defeating the strongest demons like Muzan and the Upper Moon. Finally, Demon Slayers who awaken the mark can also gain access to the transparent world, which is the ability to see through living bodies as if they were transparent. This allows you to see the breathing, muscle contractions, joint movements, and blood flow of the person you are looking at, and that in turn allows you to track and predict their movements. Being able to access the transparent world also increases the speed and reaction time of the user because it allows them to see the world around them as if it was moving in slow motion. But even though the Demon Slayer mark enables the Demon Slayer to attain incredible new power-ups, there is a catch. The immense power that comes with the Demon Slayer mark comes at the cost of the Demon Slayer's lifespan. Every Demon Slayer who manifested the mark dies before the age of 25. Although there is one known exception. Yoriichi, who was born with the mark, didn't die at age 25. In fact, he lived well into his 80s, and he continued to fight demons until the very end of his life. Because Tanjiro may have actually been born with an underdeveloped or unawakened mark that started to manifest progressively over time, it's possible that he too, like Yoriichi, could live well into his 80s. And even this is not the end of Tanjiro's many powers and abilities. During the Hashira training arc, Tanjiro learns a technique called repetitive action, which is also practiced by Genya and the stone Hashira Gyome Himejima. Basically, you repeatedly perform a predetermined action, such as a religious chant, in order to heighten your concentration to the extreme. And this enables you to fully open up all 5 of your senses. You then summon a memory of anger or pain, which increases your heart rate and body temperature, allowing you to draw out the full physical power of your body. Shifting back and forth from repetitive action to exerting your full strength allows you to perform superhuman physical feats, such as moving a gigantic boulder. This technique is separate from breathing styles, but some Demon Slayers are able to use both techniques at the same time, which helps them to unlock the Demon Slayer mark and maintain it for a longer period of time. During his fight against Upper Moon to Akaza in the Infinity Castle, Tanjiro unlocks the state of Anatta, which is also known as the state of not self or the selfless state. The individual who attains this state has no detectable fighting spirit, meaning that they give off absolutely no malicious intent or intent to kill during a fight. Akaza compares fighting someone in this state to fighting a plant, and it is impossible to predict the individual's movements based on their malicious intent. Akaza had always strived to attain such a state himself, and before Tanjiro, he had never met any human who didn't have a fighting spirit that he could detect. Akaza senses that he must kill Tanjiro right away because he has now become simply too dangerous. If Akaza doesn't kill Tanjiro now, he will surely be killed by him. In the end, Tanjiro's ability to essentially erase his presence and enter this selfless state plays a key role in allowing him to come out on top in the fight against Akaza. And now let's talk about the good stuff. Tanjiro's biggest and most controversial power-up. Let's talk about Demon King Tanjiro. In chapter 201, as the fight against Muzan is finally coming to an end, Muzan realizes that his body is about to disintegrate in the sunlight and that he is about to die. But before he dies, he injects what's left of his demon blood into a dying Tanjiro. Muzan is hoping that by consuming his blood, Tanjiro will also inherit Muzan's will and become the next king of the demons, the one who is destined to finally conquer the sun and destroy the Demon Slayer core. Muzan's decision to inject Tanjiro with his blood saves Tanjiro's life, but it also turns Tanjiro into the ultimate demon, Demon King Tanjiro. Muzan believes that as a demon, Tanjiro is the chosen one, the perfect demon and the ultimate living creature. That's because on the one hand, he is the only person since Yoriichi who was able to fully master sun breathing, the ultimate breathing style. And on the other hand, as a demon, Tanjiro is able to conquer the sun, which is something that Muzan has been trying to do for 1,000 years but never managed to accomplish. Muzan anticipated that as a demon, Tanjiro would be able to conquer the sun because his own sister Nezuko was already able to do that at the end of the Swordsmith Village arc. And that is why we need to briefly talk about Nezuko, because she plays an important role in unlocking Tanjiro's full power. The first time that Tanjiro's Nichiren blade turns red is during his fight with Hantengu, and it happens because Nezuko uses her pyrokinetic blood demon art on his sword. This is an early hint that Tanjiro and Nezuko are strongest when they work together, although we had even earlier examples of this in the story, including the fight against Rui. Nezuko is an incredibly unique demon, a demon who was able to resist eating humans and whose blood demon art is harmful only to other demons, despite the fact that she is herself a demon. Nezuko clearly has absolutely immense willpower, and her determination to help humanity despite being a demon is truly remarkable. But Nezuko's ability to develop a resistance to sunlight, to become immune to the sun despite being a demon, is what truly sets her apart. As I mentioned earlier, even Muzan, the progenitor of the demons and the strongest demon in the world, was unable to achieve this. So once he learns about Nezuko's incredible feat, he decides that there is something special about her and her bloodline. And he believes that Tanjiro, as her brother, will also conquer the sun once he becomes a demon, which is exactly what ends up happening. Muzan's belief that Demon King Tanjiro would become the ultimate creature proved to be absolutely correct. As a demon, Tanjiro has no weaknesses. He conquers the sun almost immediately, and the red Nichiren blades are ineffective against him. Giyu even says that there's no way to actually kill Tanjiro, he's just too powerful. Yushiro felt that Demon King Tanjiro had the potential to surpass both Muzan and Yoriichi and become the strongest creature in existence. He has the strongest regeneration abilities of any demon in history, making him practically impossible to kill. The sun is not a factor, and he has practically unlimited endurance and stamina. Demon King Tanjiro also instantly develops his own blood demon art, which allows him to alter his flesh in a similar way that Muzan himself was able to do. For example, he can grow huge bone-like tentacles and whips from his back and use them against his opponents. He can also unleash powerful energy blasts from his mouth in what looks like something right out of Dragon Ball. And in general, Demon Tanjiro is an absolute monster. There is no way that anyone would have been able to defeat him if he had stayed a demon. But as we know, Tanjiro decided to fight against Muzan and his demon influence from the inside, and eventually he won and went back to being human. Personally, I thought that this part in the manga was really rushed, and I wish that we got to see more of Demon King Tanjiro before he reverted back to being human. I wish there was an entire extra arc that featured Tanjiro going through an epic internal struggle while learning to live as a demon. And maybe the villain of that arc could have been like other demons that we haven't met yet. Like, for example, demons who moved to other countries at some point in the past and became extremely powerful without anyone in Japan being aware of it. If we had gotten this extra arc, we would have been able to see the ultimate power in the entire series. A secret weapon that only Tanjiro would be able to unlock: Demon Sun Breathing. In the Demon Slayer story, we have two known examples of Demon Slayers who go on to become powerful demons. Kaigaku, who becomes Upper Moon 6 after Daki and Gyutaro are defeated, and Kokushibo, who became Upper Moon 1. Kaigaku is a user of Thunder Breathing, and once he becomes a demon, his Blood Demon art enhances and transforms his Thunder Breathing abilities. So, once he becomes a demon, not only can he still do normal Thunder Breathing, but he also has the ability to generate black lightning from his body and use it in battle. This lightning will burn the flesh of his opponents during a fight, making Kaigaku's attacks much stronger than they were back when he was human. His Thunder Breathing technique becomes faster and more powerful, and the range of his attacks also improves dramatically. It's Thunder Breathing, but boosted and enhanced by additional magic demon powers. As a Demon Slayer, Upper Moon 1 Kokushibo was a user of Moon Breathing, which is arguably the second strongest breathing style after Sun Breathing. Just like Kaigaku, Kokushibo's Blood Demon art greatly enhances and boosts the power of his original breathing style, allowing him to generate crescent moon-shaped blades and sickles and launch them at his opponents. These blades change their size, length, and shape on a regular basis, making them incredibly tricky to defend against. Kokushibo's Blood Demon art also allows him to create a flesh katana, a Nichiren sword enhanced with demonic powers. This sword is more powerful and durable than a regular sword. It can transform itself in order to add even more blades to it or to change its size and shape, and Kokushibo can even generate multiple additional flesh blades from his body, basically turning himself into a demonic katana porcupine. I think these demonically enhanced sword-breathing powers are extremely interesting, especially when we consider the fact that had Tanjiro remained a demon, he could have created a demonically enhanced version of the strongest breathing style of all, Sun Breathing. Just imagine Demon Tanjiro using Sun Breathing as he is swinging his sword, and immense dark flames are spreading all around him and scorching everything in sight. Imagine if his Sun Breathing transformed into like black hole breathing, allowing him to manipulate gravity itself and pull everyone and everything towards him, just to then burn them up with his demonic dark fire. With an ability like this on top of all his other powers, Tanjiro would no longer be Demon King Tanjiro. He would truly become Demon God Tanjiro, the strongest being to ever exist in the history of the Demon Slayer world. I have to admit that it would have been really cool to see this happen, even if only briefly. I mean, Tanjiro is the protagonist and an extremely kind person. He was always going to go back to the light side of the Force eventually. But it would have been awesome to have seen him grapple with the dark side just a little bit longer. What do you guys think about Demon God Tanjiro? And what would his demonic sun breathing look like, and how would it function? Would he be able to use multiple demonic breathing styles, including demonic water breathing, or maybe even demonic thunder breathing? Hit me up with your thoughts down in the comments below. If you're looking for an epic Demon Slayer video to watch next, check out this video on Tanjiro's shocking family secret, link in the description and on screen. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more Demon Slayer content in the future, leave a quick like right now. And if you're one of the over 50% of people who watch our videos but haven't taken the time to subscribe yet, do me a big favor and make this the video that you subscribe and hit that notification bell to turn on all notifications.